and I'm 28 years old. I just got divorced recently. My mother passed away when I was in 5th grade, so my father raised me. I come from a single-father household. That father also passed away in a car accident when I was in my junior year of high school. Having become an orphan, I lived in a facility until I graduated from high school. After graduating, I started working as an office clerk at a construction company and began living alone in an apartment. I had no romantic relationships like other young women. At 26, hearing about a friend from the facility who got married to someone she met on a dating app, I felt envious and quickly signed up for the app myself. On the app, I could start relationships easily, but as soon as men heard I'd spent almost a year in a facility, they all left. The only relationship that lasted was with a guy my age named Mike. Mike, being the eldest son, said that even after marriage we would live at his family's home. Whenever I mention living at home after marriage, women run away. I get the same reaction from men when I say I lived in a facility. We laughed like this, and that's how our relationship started. After dating for about a year, Mike proposed to me, and thinking I'd finally have a family, I happily agreed. I was a bit excited and hopeful about living in a suburban house with my in-laws. Emily, I heard you used to help your dad with household chores when you were young. What a wonderful girl. I bet you're great at cooking too. My mother-in-law said this gently when I visited to greet them before marriage. Raised in a single-father home and having tough memories from the facility, I thought about living with my in-laws, being filial to my mother-in-law, and sometimes seeking her comfort. It was a relief when she said she would receive my belongings at the in-laws' house after I moved out of my apartment 3 days after the wedding. At 9 a.m., the moving truck arrived, and my few belongings were quickly loaded into a small truck. After cleaning the apartment and checking the utilities, I finished the necessary paperwork at the office and headed to my in-laws' house with high spirits. It was a weekday, and I had taken a day off for the move. When I arrived, I noticed some of my boxes were already unpacked. Thanks for starting to organize my things. But then, unbelievable words came back. You're just after a property, aren't you? The proof is that there's hardly anything of value in your stuff. You must have seduced Mike just to live in a house. Typical of a poor girl. I was momentarily confused. Was this the same person I met before the wedding? Why had she changed so drastically? My head was filled with questions, but I began to understand what my mother-in-law was saying. Looking where she pointed, I saw my Coach bag hanging among her bags in the hallway. I couldn't afford luxury brands, but I had wanted at least one nice bag, so I bought it from a Coach outlet online using part of my bonus. It was essentially my only valuable possession, and my mother-in-law had taken it as if it were hers. Please give it back. It's mine, and you can't just open my boxes and do whatever you want. I couldn't help but raise my voice. Then came an unbelievable reply. Don't be ridiculous as a daughter-in-law. What's yours is mine. More importantly, living in a house means cleaning inside and out, so I need to teach you. Wondering what she would make me do, I followed her out the door. It was just a moment. My mother-in-law pushed me from behind, and I plunged face first into the drainage ditch in front of the entrance. As I began to pick myself up, I heard her mocking laughter. Just got dirty, huh? It would have been funnier if you got hurt too. Satisfied with my fall into the ditch, she closed and locked the front door. Covered in mud, I knew I had to find a way into the house. She clearly wasn't going to open the door for me. Knowing she would interfere by any means if she realized I wanted to get inside, I quietly entered the property and headed to the southern side where the garden was. Just then, my mother-in-law was putting away bedding, so I pressed myself against the western wall and waited. The dirty water was seeping into my clothes, making me cold, and I felt a sneeze coming on. But I couldn't give up now, so I desperately held it back. When it seemed like she had finished with the bedding, I moved to a window on the south side. As I thought, she had left the window unlocked, planning to lock it after putting away the bedding. I entered the house through there and hurried to the bathroom. I quickly stripped off my muddy clothes, rummaged through a cardboard box for a bath towel and bathrobe, and started showering. But a few minutes into my shower, my mother-in-law began pounding on the bathroom door. "You pay before you use a bath. Don't use someone else's bathroom without permission." At that moment, I clearly realized it was because of her that Mike couldn't get married. When my husband returned home, I told him about the truck incident, the drainage ditch incident, the Coach bag incident, and how it seemed my high-end skincare products had been used by my mother-in-law. "And that's why I had such a terrible time," I said. "Terrible? Don't ever speak ill of my mother again. This house was inherited by her, an only child, from her parents. My dad died when I was in 2nd grade, but we managed to get by till today because of this house. Living here for free is all thanks to her." "So, Mike is just a mama's boy. You don't have anywhere else to go, do you? It's brazen of you to stay in this house without paying rent. Instead, you'd better dedicate yourself to us as payment." That was my mother-in-law's favorite thing to say. "Mike never contributes to the household expenses. I buy necessities and groceries out of my own income. It seems neither my mother-in-law nor Mike is satisfied with anything I do. Your meals are so repetitive. It's like you're serving leftovers every day." I thought